G'day. Today we're going to talk about doing a manual swap on a car. Now, this is my car. It's a Z32 Fairlady or 300ZX. The first thing I did as soon as I bought it was put a manual transmission in it, mainly because the automatic had some issues with the high clutch. But I always think a V6 twin turbo or any car really that's sporty should have a manual transmission in it. So that's the first thing we did. So today I'll tell you about how I did it, what you're going to need to do the job. We'll make a list of everything from the very big stuff to the very nitty gritty, and how I went about it. So first things first, for the really big stuff, you're going to need a flywheel. Now the twin turbo 300ZX for this current example, the flywheel is a little bit bigger on the twin turbo. If it's an NA, you get the NA flywheel. Twin turbo, you get the big twin turbo flywheel. So we'll start with that. First things first, right up the front, you're going to need a flywheel, and you're going to need a set of bolts to mount the flywheel. The bolts for the flex plate of the automatic transmission, they don't fit. You need the manual transmission bolts, so we've got to do that. While we're on the topic of the flywheel, there's a bush in the end of the flywheel, a little spigot bush. The manual is different to the auto, so you've got to pull the auto one out. The auto one can be very hard to get out. What I did with mine, I drilled it to a size of a tap I had, then I ran a tap through the brass. Once the tap reached the end of the crank, continue to turn the tap, and it actually, while it's cutting a thread, it pulls the bush out. A lot of people use bread or grease, and you can hydraulic the bearing out, whatever you got to do to get the bush out, because that's got to come out the end of the crank as well. You're going to want a new clutch, of course, heavy duty or otherwise, same thing, twin turbo NA, they're different sizes, and you'll need a full set of bolts to hold the clutch pressure plate to the flywheel. You can normally get them when you get your flywheel bolts. I got them brand new, genuine from Nissan, super easy to get, even here in Perth. Next up, you need a transmission. Now the transmission itself is the same, twin turbo or NA, but the bell housing is different. The bell housing is wider. It's sort of more machined out for the twin turbo flywheel. It's larger, and therefore the starter motor is also spaced further out. You can use an NA bell housing, and you can buy the spacer if it's a twin turbo to adapt the starter motor out. I know this because that's what I did. I have an NA bell housing. I ground a little bit out of it. It actually fits pretty well with the flywheel that I bought, and I bought the spacer to space the starter motor out just a little bit to accommodate for the larger flywheel. But if you can get a T2 bell housing for your TT engine, or NA bell housing for your NA engine, that's obviously going to be much more advantageous for you. Continuing backwards, we're going to need a new propeller shaft as well. The manual transmission and the auto have two different lengths to them, and therefore the propeller shafts are different as well. 2+2 to 2+0, different propeller shafts, as are the auto and the NA. So make sure you get the right one. You can get one piece aftermarket, or you can get the one with the center bearing, which is the factory one that I got, and you'll need the mounting bolts for the center bearing itself. The mounting bolts at the back are exactly the same. I didn't have any drama there, and it's just a spline into the rear of the transmission. Now, if we sort of get into the smaller bits, you will need a new speed sensor for your transmission. They come with different color gears on. You get reds and blues and greens, and they'll give you a different signal output to your speedo. Make sure you get the right color gear for your speedo. I bought the wrong one to start with. I got a green gear, and I ended up needing a red, I think it was. So that's something you need to get, a new speed sensor. A lot of people change the alternator harness as well. I got one, and I never changed it. I didn't need to. I just unplugged all the harnesses at the front, and I made up a small harness just to go to the reverse sensor of the transmission, and I ran a bit of harness to plug at the front of the engine there. You can see, and it works perfectly fine, and it does everything it needs to do. You're also going to need, with your clutch kit, you get a throwout bearing. You're going to need a clutch fork if you didn't get one with the transmission, and you'll need a pivot. Now, the clutch fork pivot, I bought a Nismo one. They're known for failing or being soft or whatever. Get yourself a Nismo pivot for the inside of your transmission. Replace it while you're in there. You won't regret it. You'll need to do it. Make sure you also get a carrier for the thrust bearing of the clutch. I got one that was too short to start with. When I bought my transmission, it came with the transmission, and I had to pull the whole thing out again and put the longer one in, or the other way around. Either way, I got the wrong one, and here's an image of what I got and what I ended up using. Now, when it comes to mounting the transmission, the mounting bolts, some of them from the auto will continue to fit, but most won't. Make sure you get the right hardware to mount the transmission to the back of the engine there. The bolts don't have to be factory genuine Nissan. Obviously, if you can get them, great. I used Caterpillar bolts. The thread's the same. You just got to measure up the length and how much thread you're going to want. You want a couple of inches of thread and washers, and I managed to get most of them. A lot of the automatic ones do fit, but they don't all fit. You will need to get some of them as well. Make sure with your transmission you also get a new slave cylinder, and I converted mine here with the one-piece braided line for the clutch. A lot of the original factory ones have the hard line, and it's a complete just kerfuffle. If you can get the one-piece braided line, it goes basically from the master cylinder all the way down to the slave, one piece, easy to bleed, and it was really good and continues to be very good. On that, of course, you're going to need a new master cylinder, and if you've got the TT like I have here, they run a booster, and unlike any other car I've come across, the booster's inside the car. The booster is inside with the pedal box, and it's quite difficult to fit. I had to take the chair out of the car, lay upside down, but it does fit. You can get it in there without removing too much of the dash. It's a few little plastic panels, but you can get the booster in there. It is hard, but it is doable. On that, of course, you need the pedal box to go with it, and you'll need the small brake pedal shoe. Some people cut the steel and add the rubber shoe, or you can just buy the whole pedal. I was using a wrecker car, so I managed to get a propeller shaft and the pedal box and the booster and everything out of a wrecker car, including the master and the slave cylinder, which that was good for me. The factory fit out on the automatic car has a plate covering the master cylinder mounting points. All you got to do is pop the plate open with a pry bar or chisel. It's just glued on, and it comes off. And then the booster has two studs on it, and you push the booster through the studs, and you attach the master cylinder to the booster via those two studs with a pair of nuts. Once again, they came off the wrecker car, so I was pretty good there. Your best case is always find a wrecker car if you can get all this stuff from a wrecker. There is a signal wire that stops you starting the car or removing your keys when you are not in park. So if you're in drive in your automatic transmission, the little switch will stop you doing anything really. So there's a switch at the front car here, just under the front of the wheel arch of the driver's side. Now, in a perfect world, you run one wire to the switch of the clutch and the other wire back. So when you push the clutch in, you can start the car, but when your clutch is not touched, the car won't operate. I've got mine bridged out at the moment, meaning when I turn the key, if it's in gear or not, it starts. That is something I wish to remedy and will shortly. All right, other couple little notes we need to make. Obviously, the hydraulic side of the torque converter pushing oil through into the radiator. They use the bottom of the radiator as a bit of a cooling circuit for the transmission. All you got to do with that is pull the lines off. Oil's going to go everywhere, but the radiator is still good to use, even with the two barbs still sticking in the bottom tank there, or the side tank in the TT. That has no effect on the radiator at all. Just make sure you flush all the oil out, or the hydraulic fluid, and you want to keep using the radiator, you sure can. I still am, and it works perfectly fine. Moving towards the interior, the center control stack here is still all good to use. The hole here is exactly the same for the manual or the automatic. You will need a shifter bracket for the back of the transmission if you don't get one. Basically, it's a bracket that's on a hinge that allows the transmission to move independently to the shifter itself, and there's a shifter mount inside underneath this panel. So basically, the shifter bracket has a stud on it, and the shifter mount has a hole, and you just screw a nut on there, and that holds the shifter to the body of the car. And you're going to want a shifter as well. I bought a short shifter for this. They're fairly cheap, $150. You can get them online. You get a short shifter with a pair of bushes, or you can just use a factory shifter if you're getting it out of a wrecker. And you're going to need a gear knob and a boot, and the boot mounts under here with some small screws and clips, and that was quite cheap. You can get them on eBay as well. You can get a boot and you can get a handbrake boot to match. I've left my little auto sticker on here, as we can see here. That's still there, and I kind of like it staying there. You can use the automatic bracket and drill a hole in it for the shifter bracket, and you can use a spacer and a nut. I did that at first, and then a lot of people would buy the OEM the shifter mounting bracket. Now that bracket is very known for failing. They crack around the bolt hole, so they're pretty common failure on these things. So if you're getting out of a wrecker, have a look for cracks around the mounting bracket for the shifter. If it's got cracks or the hole seems elongated in any way, get yourself a new one if you can, because you'll be back doing it again pretty soon. As for the interior, that's pretty much all you need to do. There's no other modification. I didn't cut anything. It's all pretty good there. It all mounts, and you just got to put some sound deadening underneath the shifter boot there, and there's a rubber boot you can buy if you want to go that far, and you're all good there. So if we do a quick overview of everything we're going to need, and I'll give you some approximate prices of what I paid for everything. Once again, starting the front to the back, you're going to need to get yourself a flywheel. If you can get a second-hand one, great. You may need to machine it. I bought an aftermarket chromoly one. It was about 320 bucks. The bolts, probably about 100 bucks. I paid all up to get all the flywheel bolts and all of the clutch pressure plate bolts from Nissan. The clutch was about 600 for the clutch. The spigot bush was about 50 bucks, I think. The short shifter was about 100 bucks. The shifter bracket I bought second hand for about 50 bucks. The transmission was 950. It was 900 bucks to get the second hand transmission out of a known car. I bought that from KYP in Perth. The propeller shaft and the pedal box I bought all together with the master cylinder and the slave cylinder and the clutch line, and that was including the brake pedal as well. I got all that for 900 bucks as well at the time. That was from the wrecker car. It was a bit of a kit, came with all that stuff that I needed, which was good. Yeah, that's about all you're going to need to do this job. Make sure, like I said, you get the right speed sensor for the back of the transmission there, depending if you've got the 180k clock or whatever car you've got, USDM or the JDM. You'll need to make up a harness for the reverse sensor, assuming that your transmission comes with a reverse sensor in it. You may need to get that as well, but that was basically free to make that up. I bought the boot and stuff off eBay, 50 to 100 bucks for that sort of stuff. It's sort of sundries. You don't really need to worry about costing that in. That's up to yourself to sort of design the inside of the interior as you want. Shifter knob, short shifter, and you're pretty much good to go. That's pretty much all I need to do. Just make sure once you've done the manual swap, you need to drop the idle of the vehicle slightly. They idle a little bit higher, the autos, and when you're not spinning a giant torque converter, you're just turning a clutch, the engine does spin a bit faster. There's a yellow plug you need to pull off right in the back corner of the engine. I'll show you a shot of that. And then you can wind down the idle and the idle air control valve, and then you plug that back in for compensation. That's for the ECM to compensate the revs, and that should drop the idle for you. It's pretty straightforward. Just make sure, unlike me, you line up the clutch switch rather than bypassing it as a safety feature. It's something I really need to get onto. So when you put the clutch in, you start the car without the clutch in, it won't start, just to make sure you've built the car safely. Other than that, manual swaps, happy motoring. We can do that in a list for you guys. I'll make a list of everything that you'll need to buy at the end of the video, and get around it. It's the best thing you'll ever do. Automatics in these cars, there's a lot of them sold, and I think the manual's better, in my opinion. Thanks for watching.